We have some other breaking news we're following out of Virginia, where a jury has just been seated in U.S. versus Paul J. Manafort. Donald Trump's former campaign chairman is the first defendant indicted by the special counsel to face trial. He's charged with 18 counts of tax evasion and money laundering. Prosecutors call a trial like this a, quote, paper case because it is one based on records mostly. And Mueller's team literally has the receipts. The actual physical receipts. The prosecution is going to paint Manafort as a man that lived a life of excess, spending the hidden income he got working for Ukrainian politicians, custom-made suits, Persian rugs, and luxury vehicles, buying that sort of thing, while not paying taxes here in the U.S. But Manafort will not be the only person on trial in the Alexandria courtroom. It is also a test for Robert Mueller and his investigation. There are only two ways this can end. Manafort will either be found guilty, could spend the rest of his life behind bars, or he will go free, an outcome that could discredit Mueller and the over 2-year-old probe he's been leading.
When you're a prosecutor, we used to say all the time, if you're gonna try to kill the king, make sure he's dead. And the fact is, this case is going to be very important to establish credibility for Bob Mueller. If he were ever to lose this case, it would be an extraordinary black eye.
Joining us now, NBC's intelligence and national security reporter Ken Delaney, and outside of the courthouse in Alexandria, Ben Wittes is a senior fellow in governance studies at the Brookings Institution. He's also an NBC News and MSNBC legal analyst and the editor-in-chief of Lawfare. And Barbara McQuade is a former U.S. attorney in Michigan and an MSNBC and NBC News contributor. Ken, let's start with you. The jury has just been seated. It's a pretty quick seating for a jury. Usually it takes a few days.
Yeah, it was surprising, Katie. This district in the Eastern District of Alexandria is known as the Rocket Docket. That's a reference to civil cases, but it sure did move fast today in the courtroom. Judge Ellis really sped things along. There was a pool of 65 potential jurors. He winnowed it down to 6 men and 6 women, and then there are also 4 alternates. And, the real drama in this trial, Katie, is going to be the things that aren't said, because Russia is not going to be mentioned at all, and the judge has actually ruled that the jury will not formally hear that Paul Manafort ever worked for Donald Trump. So the idea of collusion or Russian interference in the 2016 election is not going to come up. And when the judge began to explain the charges to the potential jurors, he started right into some very dry tax cases. And you're absolutely right. This is going to be a document case. But legal experts say it's an overwhelming case. And Paul Manafort faces really long odds here. And some of the sort of unspoken drama is that while Paul Manafort is wearing a black suit today and seated in the courtroom, he's going home. He's going to sleep tonight in the Alexandria jail in a prison green jumpsuit because he's been remanded to custody. And he's facing 10 years, a 10-year sentence under the guidelines, not the maximum. And then he's got another trial in D.C. Where he's facing 15 years. So some very serious consequences and a very strong case here against Paul Manafort, Katie.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.